What's going on, everyone? Mike Kadlick here alongside Taylor Kyles for CLNS Media, taking a look at the Patriots' latest chapter in their new executive search. We were on here yesterday a bit talking about how Patriots were not Rooney Rule compliant. They had a couple interview requests out there for guys Trey Brown, Quentin Harris, Terrence Gray. Those three guys declined to interview, but we now have, as of Wednesday morning, two candidates in Brandon Hunt from the Eagles and Samir Suleiman from the Panthers on the docket coming into Foxborough today, Wednesday, for their interviews. So, Taylor, first of all, let me mention we are powered by Prize Picks and Game Time. More from them in a little while. But, Taylor, what do you make? The Patriots, first of all, and I hate that we have to report it like this. We did this yesterday. But if these guys come into town, both Hunt and Suleiman are minority candidates, so the Patriots will be Rooney Rule compliant in their search for a head football executive. But I guess we can start with Brandon Hunt because that was the one that was reported on first. Again, the director of scouting for the Philadelphia Eagles. What do you know about Hunt, and what do you make of him coming in for an interview?
Well, first and foremost, kind of amazing they finally got somebody to actually interview. They tried to get in Trey Brown, Quentin Harris, Terrence Gray. Those didn't work out because it seemed pretty obvious with all the rumors circulating or reports really that Eliot Wolf is expected to be the general manager for the Patriots after the search is over. You know, guys like who they were trying to get at the beginning of the search, at least that were reported, were guys who were already pretty high ranking, or at least did hold pretty high ranking positions at one point. I know Quentin Harris is no longer with the Cardinals, but still had a pretty high pedigree where it made sense that they wouldn't want to come in for what you could describe as a sham interview. You could describe it as an opportunity for these guys to get an understanding of what it's like to interview for a general manager position. But obviously, those didn't work out. So moving on, starting with Brandon Hunt. So 3 seasons as the Eagles director of scouting from 2022 till now. Obviously, we'll see what happens moving forward. But he spent most of his career with the Steelers. He was a scouting intern for them from 2005 to 2006. He's actually born in LA and then raised in Pittsburgh. Then he was a pro scout for the Texans for a couple seasons, 2007 to 2009. Then he went back to Pittsburgh and spent 12 seasons as their pro scouting coordinator. So this is a guy with experience in an organization that typically does a pretty good job in the draft. You can nitpick some things like Kenny Pickett or whatever, but typically the Steelers are one of those teams that likes to draft and develop similar to the Patriots. And also
talk about the wide receivers. The wide receivers that team has brought in has been outstanding over the last decade plus.
That's very true. And they are more willing to take risks than the Patriots. Yep. Obviously, with George Pickens had a slow start last season, but did start to pick it up. And in that organization, when you have Mike Tomlin, you can take those kinds of risks. Not necessarily the Patriots where you're rebuilding. But then you look at his experience with the Eagles, also very impressive. Another organization that does a great job in terms of getting people inside their building. So that's what I'm really interested in. I have a feeling that these positions are being sold more to the actual candidates as, hey, Eliot Wolf is likely going to be our general manager. He's done so much for us. He completely overhauled the system. So it'd be pretty hard to imagine him not getting the job, just from a logical perspective, not even talking about the reports. So I would expect that they're telling these guys, hey, this is more of an assistant role, maybe give some type of title they haven't had yet. So they do have that boost on their resume and can go forward and maybe get a real general manager job.
Sure.
But it's nice to see that, as long as they're selling it transparently and not trying to tell these guys they're going to get a job that they probably aren't going to have, it's nice they finally got guys in the building. Not just the fact that they are minority candidates, but, the best part of this rule, as misguided as, it may be at times, is giving people the opportunity to get the experience of what it's like going through this opportunity, like I already mentioned. So,
I want to
see what the title actually ends up being if either one of these guys are hired in some capacity.
Before we get into Suleiman's resume, ex-Eagles executive, I want to build off what you just said because these are interviews listed as, interviewing for that lead personnel role, right? And so that's what's going to satisfy them to be able to, or that's what's rather going to satisfy the league so that they can in turn promote Eliot Wolf. But it shouldn't just be a sham interview. This should be worked as a fact-finding mission on, other guys in the league, guys who can come in and, like you said, kind of what they did with Adrian Clem last year, where he interviewed for the offensive coordinator role, but you end up bringing him as something else. So, you kill 2 birds with 1 stone, really. And you don't just bring these guys in just for, just to, get on a flight and satisfy the league. You actually learn more about them and you can bring them in. And the reason I say that is because, and now this could be semantics or this could be how the Patriots are portraying it. And I want to shout out Zach Ventola on Twitter, who kind of pointed my eye towards this. When Adam Schefter reported the Brandon Hunt interview, he wrote it as he's interviewing for the Patriots lead personnel job, where when he reported on Suleiman, he wrote he's interviewing today for a football executive job. So that could mean two different things, that he's interviewing for the job to satisfy the Rooney Rule, but they're also looking at him to come in a different, in a different way. And I want to kick to you to kind of go through Suleiman's resume, because he's done a lot. He's worked, as a salary cap manager. He's been the head of player negotiation. So that could definitely be something where, again, they bring him in for that head interview to satisfy the rule, but then he comes in and works under Wolf, different title, maybe a promotion. He's unemployed right now. So this could kind of work for both parties.
Yeah, so like you said, Suleiman has a history of really being more of a contracts guy, where he's working with players trying to get these deals done, which is interesting. I'm not sure who the Patriots have on staff right now that fills that role, but whether it's, whether they don't have it and they want to fill it, or maybe, they just want to bring him in and get a different perspective on that, maybe make some changes. It will be interesting. And like you said, the fact that Adam Schefter specified the role differently was very interesting. So this guy, born in Washington, D.C., graduated from James Madison, where he actually played football, so he has a background actually in the game. He was an NFL Management Council in 1997, where he was analyzing players' contracts and club compliance with the salary cap. It's obviously very important, kind of a behind-the-scenes thing that we always say the cap is crap and all that, but these teams do have people who make sure that not even for just this season, but looking into the future, that they are in a position where they can be kind of healthily within the salary cap. Not only
the cap is crap,
but also making sure that they are spending enough, because you have to be compliant in terms of like a bare minimum over, I think it's like a 3-year period.
The cap is crap because there's guys like this who can, maneuver and facilitate and understand it so well that it makes it easier for the head guy to be like, hey, figure this out so we can get this player on our team somehow.
Whoever does it for the Saints is probably making a pretty penny.
Exactly.
So after the NFL Management Council, Jaguars manager of contract information from 98 to 99, the Rams director of football administration from 2000 to 2009. So a good chunk of his career in what was St. Louis. Then again, more Pittsburgh connections. The Steelers football administration coordinator from 2013 to 2019. So there's a little bit of overlap there with these guys. And then Panthers vice president of football administration from 2020 until last season. He was the team's primary negotiator. So very interesting. Two guys, again, with backgrounds with the Steelers, with successful organizations. But it does seem like they're kind of doing different things, where, again, Suleiman kind of seems like he's more focused on actually, hammering out all these contracts and getting these deals done.
Yep. So that's kind of where we're at now. The Patriots are getting this executive search done. They are checking all of the boxes that I hate with the NFL that we talked about with the Rooney Rule, but it's also they're expanding. They're not just keeping it internal. It's not just if you want to call it a nepotism thing and keeping them inside. They're kind of branching out. They're seeing who's out there and bringing guys in Brandon Hunt and Samir Suleiman, who have experience elsewhere, successful experience elsewhere. They also overlapped with the Steelers at one time, so they sort of know each other. So I wonder if those guys could come in maybe as a package deal, depending on how they see fit, and they really expand this front office with guys not only in Eliot Wolf and Alonzo Highsmith, but those two as well who have experience in the league. You pair them with Mac Rowe, and you have guys really touching everything you need in an NFL front office to make things successful. So again, Patriots declined by Trey Brown, Quentin Harris, Terrence Gray, but they do bring in Brandon Hunt and Samir Suleiman to interview for that lead executive role in a process that, again, as we all kind of see right now, Eliot Wolf will be taking over as the lead football executive. But that'll do it for us here on Patriots Press Pass and Patriots Daily. Thanks for watching. He's Taylor Kyles at TKyles39 on Twitter. I'm Mike Kadlick at Mike Kadlick on Twitter. And as the Patriots continue on this very different offseason, we'll have you covered each and every step of the way here on Patriots Press Pass. So make sure you rate, review, and subscribe. And until next time, thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.